Hello, welcome back to another episode of Unglamorous Truths, an industry podcast where we talk about how to make it come hell or high water. I'm Emebit.
I'm Chandra.
I'm Crystal.
And today we are talking about boundaries, okay, and the power of no. My kickoff question is, what is something that you couldn't live without but have since given up? Like you were like, I need this, like die hard. And then you're like, you know what? Maybe years later, you're like, I don't give a shit about this anymore.
So mine is sugar in my tea.
Ooh.
And what's funny about that is, so I used to be like really firm about putting lots of sugar in my tea. And Amebit was dating, you want to call it dating this guy, dealing with whatever. And he was like crazily adamant about me using honey in the tea. Do you remember this? And I was like so upset. I felt like he was mansplaining. Also, like, what the fuck is it your business? It's my tea.
Right. And also my house. So like
in my house, that part. But he was so aggressive about it. And I was like, sir, I put sugar in my tea. That's the way I've had it my whole life. That's how it just is what it is. But now I don't put anything. No sugar, no honey, no agave. I just enjoy the herbed water.
Wow.
Yeah. And I prefer it like that. Yep, full 180.
So still didn't do the honey, babe.
No. And I never thank him for that moment. Because I can do that on my own.
Exactly.
Not through his forcing. Carry on.
I've said this before, but currently it is, as you all know, my journey with alcohol. And I have been alcohol-free since June 1st. And my plan is to go at least through the end of the year. So a nice 6 months.
This is the hard part. The holidays.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, coming up. Yeah. Well, also, I mean, you would think summer would be lit and be like Margaritaville and all this stuff, but that didn't happen. So it was a boring summer. But this, Q4, we're in the final stretch, and I will say it's something I thought would be impossible, but it's not. It's not always fun, but it's doable.
Mine is manicures.
Oh,
remember? I was
God.
like,
you were
die
that
hard.
Yeah.
I would not have my nails done.
Yes.
Like, if they chipped, like it was an emergency. We're going to the ER. Like, no, I can't come. Like, all right, or you need to fit me in immediately because my nail chipped or my nail broke. And now this is how I'm living my life, and I actually prefer it. I genuinely like it like this.
Good.
It's not a concession. It's not a like I'm trying to be like budget friendly. It's like I'm just like, the delicacy was so annoying.
Especially
I miss it so much. I can't wait to get my click clacks back. Like,
Baby,
that's why I always have my hands like this, like, no one see me this way.
No.
No.
Oh, really?
No one needs to know who I am.
Oh my god! I think
love
it's
it.
sexy. Like
It
it's
is
like
nice.
when it's
Especially if
clean
they're, like,
and
clean.
short. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's great for gardening.
Yes.
right. Pottery. I'm like, where was
Yeah.
my pottery class now? Like,
Yeah. Well,
I was struggling back then.
But I'm a click clack girl.
you know, I told y'all that one time I tried and then cried in the hotel room during your bachelorette in Puerto Rico because
Did
I
I take your contact out?
I think you
Oh,
might
you
have.
cut your eye.
I literally cannot wear acrylics
Yeah.
because I must remove my eyeballs every day and I
Yeah.
can't do it. I
Yeah.
cried. Like, I think it was on
You
day
sure
3.
did.
I was on day 3 of wearing the same contacts and then finally I was like, Chandra, like, help me. And it was terrible. So yeah, it's just never going to happen.
They'll be back soon. So once my children get a little older,
Right.
and I'm not worried about stabbing them in the eye anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. And that kind of goes into like, for me, like the power of no and boundaries of like things that you had to say yes to. Like for me, like, man, I had to, right? And then like taking inventory of like, but why? Like, is this actually necessary? And getting really specific about what your needs are. And a book that we all read actually when we were in a book club together, I think it was a book club like early on, that for me was like, I couldn't relate any less, was Shonda Rhimes' The Power of Yes. Was it? No, The Year of Yes. My Year of Yes. I closed that book and was like, I couldn't be further from this woman. Like, the privilege to be, or like, I mean, from a place of like admiration, to be honest. Like, you get invited to things by like Barack Obama and Oprah, and it like killed you to say, like, you didn't want to say yes. You like forced yourself to this thing. And I'm like, I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, it kills me to say no. I think that was kind of the beginning of just like a questioning for me. Like, definitely wasn't in a space to make any like changes, but like, oh wow, there are people that live like this. No, that people that like are fighting to say yes, where I'm over here like fighting to say no.
What do you think is going to happen if you do say no?
Oh no, I'm really good at no now.
I know, but like, well,
Back
at the
then.
time,
Oh,
what?
hurting people's feelings. Like, I cared a lot about what people thought. That was really the crux of it. And like a lot of my value was in acceptance, like you loving me. And so if I didn't have that, then like that was a direct attack to my self-esteem, my self-worth, and just value in general, like how I'm valued in this friendship, any relationship, was how much I showed up versus just me.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
Honestly, when I did start to say no, like there were shifts, there were relationships that were lost. And I do remember a conversation that you and I had. You were like, you know what? I'm really happy for you. Like, I'm seeing you become less available. Like, even something as simple as like not being the first person to respond to something in a text message. Because even text messages had me in a chokehold.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, I have since like just, I don't even know how many messages I have. Like, it's not, it's gone beyond just having like 300 unread messages. I've gone into the settings and turned off I don't even know how many.
God, if you don't understand, this is making me so happy. Welcome. Okay,
Have you done that?
great. No, I don't even know how to, but girl, you know I don't give a shit. I don't care how many.
Her phone is just in a different room.
I don't even want to see the number.
It's not
Like,
even real.
and mostly for other people, they'll be like, "What?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Don't even worry about
You used to
that.
always tear me apart about that.
Don't worry about that."
But yes, carry
I didn't
on.
even know there was a setting, and I found it, and I was like, "Oh,
Show
you
me
can
later.
just take the number off, so you don't even
Oh,
know."
that's helpful. That is such
You
a
can take the
anxiety-
number off.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did not know.
Show me later.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have definitely, similar to you, like, it took, I've said this before. A friend called me out on that and was like, you don't have to respond. You know that, right? You like, you know, that's an option. And that was mind blowing to me. That was a pure epiphany. Like, I truly in my being thought one must, like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't,
The clock is ticking as well.
yeah, right. Like, if you don't, I mean, wow, you're rude, or you're, I don't even know what I thought. I don't know what the fears were, but there were fears around it. And then I was just like, let me just try something different. And then I was like, oh, I don't care. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's still, I still get back pretty quickly, but I just have boundaries around that now. Like, even with business, like on our podcast chat, like I might notify people. I'll be like, yo, I'm just off the grid, like I'm not available or whatever. But I think in general, we're all getting better at knowing when people are is a hell no, don't reach out, or at least it's a hell no, I won't be responding. So
Yeah. Social boundaries, I think, have always been pretty easy for me, because I'm not a FOMO girl. I don't get FOMO. I can be alone. So yeah, that part is kind of like, because I also don't take it personally and never really have. If somebody doesn't want to come to something, or it's like they prioritize, something differently, it's like, I'm not gonna be at your dinner. Okay, cool. Or if somebody, because people get upset with me about the way I text, but I also offer a lot of grace. Like, mostly, sometimes I do it to harass you because it's so fun to attack you about texting back late, but it's not genuine. Like, I'm not really actually upset.
Abuse.
Oh, she's
Send
my favorite
help.
to harass. She's my favorite to abuse. But it never hurts my feelings. Like, there's some people who just don't respond, and I'm never like, I don't hold it against you. Like, I don't care. I don't know what you got going on. Shit, you just might not be feeling social right now. Right. And it would be such a stretch for you to respond to me that maybe then you'd have a bad attitude when you did. Right. And now I don't like you. So that doesn't bother me. I think the area where I had to really grow was boundaries around money. Always feeling like if I have it, I should pay for everything, or I should pick this up, or and just kind of feeling like, especially like, okay, sometimes I want to do things that maybe cost a little more, and and there were times where not everyone's making the same amount, and so then I feel like, well, if you're inviting these people to do these things, then like you should be covering it, and then it took me a minute being like, well, just because you extend an invitation, like, everybody can do what's best for them, and if they don't have it, then they can stay at home, or they can go find it, one way or the other.
Right. I mean, the idea is just like, this is what I'm doing, and you're more than welcome to join me.
Yeah.
And then how you join me is up to you.
And that's the fascinating thing about boundaries that I'm coming to at this age, that the main person I needed to set boundaries with was myself.
Yes.
Right. You know, because I thought it was that I need to set boundaries with all these other people. And there are, of course, some people in your life and some just areas of your life where you do have to set boundaries with other people. But for me, I just realized, I'm like, a lot of these things is you having these expectations on yourself, and you're like having them channeled through other people. But you're you. Like, nobody even asked you to do this.
Yes, that part. That
Nobody.
part. It's very much like, if you don't make decisions about what you want in every aspect of your life, it's similar to what they say, like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. It's like, you're going to fall for everybody else's expectations of you because you have none of your own. And you need principles around every aspect of your life, whether that's dick, whether that's dating, whether that's money, whether that's friendship, right? Time.
Yeah.
It's all different areas. But you must make choices.
I think that really comes down to, like, getting to know yourself more, being very specific about who you are and what you need. And if you don't know those things, you're never going to be able to set boundaries for yourself. And learning how to, like, healthily prioritize yourself. I was just saying this to someone the other day, like, there's a difference between being selfish and putting yourself first.
Yes.
Because the former, being selfish, is like a disregard of other people, and putting yourself first is, I'm going to take care of me, and then I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
Like,
Order of operation.
yeah, I'm not disregarding you. It's just, like on the plane, I have to put on my mask before I put on yours.
Yeah, I used to really hate people who understood that and moved with that in their spirit.
You hate it, or you were jealous?
Jealous. Oh, my hate is always jealousy. What? It's always jealous. Always, girl.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And really envious. Just like, how are you doing this? And like, and then I would be like, they don't even feel ashamed about it. Like they should be. Like, why should you be ashamed for taking care of yourself? But you should. Don't you have to put community first? Don't you got to be a people's person first?
Yeah.
Which is such a woman thing too. Like, it really is put on us. I think we grew up seeing our moms being the center of our families and doing all the things and like planning the barbecues and the birthdays and the this and the that. And I feel like you learn very early to overextend and stretch yourself to oblivion.
Are you not a good woman if you're not stressed out and
Yes.
suffering a little bit?
You know?
Are you really a good woman? Okay? You're not struggling?
Literally.
Please.
And I think it's like, I think what's tricky about it is that I get where there can be resentment when other people do it
That's
freely.
the word, resentment.
Resentment. Because it's like, well, no one gave me permission to do it. And it's like, well, bitch, give yourself permission.
Yeah.
Like, you have to. No one is coming to save you, and no one's going to step in and be like, actually do this, and this. Just do it. Just do it.
Yes. In hindsight, I realized a lot of moments where I was really upset with people, it was not because of what you did. It was because you did it, and I never gave myself permission to do it.
That part.
Yeah.
And it's like, how could you stand up for yourself?
Yes.
And I didn't, especially in relation to you.
Yes.
And like, you let me be a clown, but when it was your turn to be the clown, you didn't want to put the nose on.
Ooh, good metaphor.
You didn't want to. How dare you?
Yeah.
Decline. It's your turn.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. That is such a crazy expectation to have.
Yeah.
Like, we're switching. I was the clown. Now you're the fucking clown.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've always been the earliest to be like good at that.
What, the
At like
boundaries?
but also the putting yourself first.
Interesting. I'll take that.
You don't think so?
In certain spaces. I'm curious what you think, and then I'll tell you where I know I'm not good at it. But where did you see that?
Well, I feel like definitely like when we were living together and then you needed to go live with your man at the time and sublet the apartment. You know what I'm saying? It was like, this is something I need to do. This is not, we're having a bit of a conversation about it,
But
of
it's
course,
decided.
but this is decided. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And so for me at the time when you did that, I was like, wow, Crystal's fucking crazy. She is very selfish. Why is she doing this? And then when I got older, I was like, oh my God, she's doing what she needed to do to survive. She's doing what she needed to do to take care of herself. And if I had a problem with it, I should have said, I'm not comfortable with this. Can we figure something else out? Instead of just being like, well, I mean, I don't like it, but I mean, if she gonna put herself first, then it is what it is. And so, and instead of empowering myself, I took the position of deciding. Crystal took my power away, and so I just got to deal with it. When I never did. If it was really a problem,
we could have talked about it,
of course. But that took age.
Yeah,
and then really, I was like angry, but I was also jealous at how you could do that, and I wanted to be able to do that. I was like, I don't know how she just says these things, and there's no malice, there's no
just clear.
So that to me, like, that's just an example.
Fair.
But I've seen you do other things that's like, wow.
Well, I mean, I do think that because the Virgo is the super logic brain, it's just gonna be very like, well, this just is math. I gotta do this. I literally have to do this. I'm not doing this to inflict any ill will. It's just, it must be done. I'm going to communicate. I'm always open to, if there's a problem, let's talk about it. To your point, I think 2 areas in my life where I realized my boundaries have evolved and changed over time, where I was weak. One, the evolution of not giving a fuck about activism anymore. And what I mean by that is, y'all know, when you met me, I was, fucking Angela Davis, right?
In the streets with it.
Period.
Literally.
And then I started to have this epiphany, because I grew up in an activist family. DC is very simple, very easy to find groups of people that move like that. And that was my normal. And then at some point I realized, I was like, wait, hold on. I'm a Black woman. That's enough. Like, me taking care of myself and like putting myself first and thriving is all actually I need to do. In fact, all Black women, I highly recommend to you, tap out. Like, honestly, other people got this. Like, white people, y'all need to organize with your own people with white supremacy. Like, that's not my job. Like, I don't need to over explain that to you. Even with things that are happening right now in today's day and age, just like, I used to be the person to put the protest before myself. So I will run all over town in God's green earth to try to save everybody, when that complex is not mine to have. If anybody needs to be doing that shit, it's white men. You know what I mean? Like, it's like y'all have a lot of time to make up for and a lot of wrongs to right. It really should not be in the Black woman's court to do it. Now, do we show up for everybody? Yes. Does it happen? Absolutely. But I think we need to start looking at, is that necessary? And just really make a choice. Like, if you want to actively do something, do it. But don't do it because you feel obligated. No, a lot of this stuff is other people's like labor. They can take it.
Yeah. Well, I also think Black women, we do it because if we don't do it, it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in small ways. You do stuff around your house like that. Well, if I don't do it, it ain't going to get done. You know? These dishes going to be sitting here. So I think it's like, it's some of that too.
Yeah. And then I will say the other place is this. My boyfriend called this out to me. He was like, Crystal, I noticed this thing where you feel like you need to update everyone on your life. And he's like, when we first got together, he was like, you would like set calls with people or like do group texts where you're like, this is what's going on with me. You know, like, this is what's going on in my life. Like, you know, he's like, I feel like you were doing a press tour. Like, he was like sitting here in the living room watching you do this. Like, you just talked to like 6 different people and said the exact same thing. And then you got on the phone and group chatted everybody else. Like, he was like, why do you feel like you owe everyone every stage of your life? Like, what if they don't know? What if like if they there, they caught it. If they weren't, they missed it. Like, and that was mind boggling to me. I was like, wait, you mean I can just keep this for myself? Like, because I had a warped view of friendship where, similar to you showing up for people no matter what, for me, it's like, if I don't communicate things, that's what love is. And so if I'm not doing that, then they don't know me and they don't know what's happening in my life. And to me, that's what I value. So like, but then I realized over time, that was just a lack of relationship with myself that I had. Because if I prioritized a relationship with myself first, there are certain things that I'll experience that I'll just love, and maybe other people don't catch it, and that's okay. I think that's where that was coming from. Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm just sitting here like, was I getting these press release text messages?
Yes,
Go ahead.
you get them. You get the voice notes. You get the what?
You know what? I guess it's just you just been doing it for so long.
Yeah,
I don't even think of it like that. It's just who she is.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it.
She's
that
so
heavily.
you're so transparent that it's like you don't. We're opposite. Like you gotta pull things out of me. It's like shit would be happening. You'd be like, excuse me, like
girl, I had to tell you that before. I'm like, I'm happy. Why when I ask you what's up?
I know
nothing. And then
really
randomly over a month, random shit drops, and I'm like, wait, what?
Amanda will drop landmines from years
like,
ago.
Girl,
I will.
like about to roll you over with a steamroller.
You must know that it happened, and then ask me specifically if it happened for me to tell you.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I abuse her because she's crazy.
Because sometimes I'd be like, nobody cares. Like nobody, not in a like mean or like, oh, I'm depressed, but it's just like nobody. Everyone has their own lives. Like it's not that deep. It's my shit, so let me just deal with it. And then once it's dealt with, it's like, oh yeah, that happened.
People will be like, I got rolled over by a 2-ton truck yesterday, and I was in the hospital, but I'm out now. I'm good.
And keep pushing.
Yeah, my phone was crushed on the side of the road, and I found it using Find My iPhone on someone else's phone. Like, at least I told y'all in the process. I didn't tell y'all when the phone was when I got the new phone.
Yeah, I noticed when you do it. I'm like, oh, she being present.
Did I get to the last location of my hunt? Yeah. But I told you nonetheless. But I've also accepted that. Like, so much of life is about, like, self-acceptance. And, like, if you can't... unless there are things that you cannot accept, then that's the things that you therapize and really work through. But it's like, I'm actually fine with that. Like,
well, this earlier when you're talking about the thing of like the first step is to know yourself. I do think that's first, but I think the bigger step is to then accept yourself. Because I think sometimes we know ourselves, but you want to create another version of yourself, or you don't want to believe that, or you are judging yourself instead of just sitting in the acceptance, being like, I'm fine and I'm enough. So sometimes that's the bigger step.
And your judgment of self manifests sometimes as a projection to others. Like, I find that things that we judge other people for are things that like we don't like about ourselves that we see, or maybe things that like we would like ourselves to be but we're not, and so we're projecting. And so like a powerful statement when like I feel like when someone's being like nuts on you is like, are you okay? Like, not meeting it with fire, but like, are you okay? What the hell? Why you really projected you dump it all over me? Like, before I would meet this with fighting words because I would take it so personal. Like, oh, you really trying to come for me? You think I'm stupid? Let me show you how not stupid I am.
Oh, and it wasn't even stupid. Oh my God! And maybe would have to let you know I'm not soft. I'm just because I'm nice. I'm not soft. You'd be like, oh, here she goes.
Philly. That's the Philly.
What are you playing with?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I feel like a lot of this is decided from within. The more you know yourself, but then let's talk about when you do have to have conversations with other people. And set boundaries because they're not getting it. Right?
My least favorite thing to do.
And I will say that like I think in that regard there are instances a lot of times when you finally do have the conversation, you can realize that you have been overthinking this thing for so fucking long. I said this to you yesterday. There are things when you can be like laboring things like years of like, oh, should I do this or should I tell them or da 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 da, and then when you finally rise to the occasion of just be like, let me do it. It could be as light as just like a okay, like when you communicate, you're like, oh, cool, that simple, that's simple.
And sometimes I think that there's like an apprehension because you don't realize that you've elevated in terms of the energies around you, right? Where like, I know for myself younger, there was definitely people that I dealt with who were unhealthy people, were very reactionary, and were probably a little bit emotionally abusive. And so when you did have boundary setting conversations with, these people, an attack followed. Yeah. And so, so that you have scars
is a protection mechanism.
Yes, and it's like, I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to have that kind of conversation again. I don't want to hurt somebody. I don't want to hurt somebody like that again. When really they were already a hurt puppy. Yes. Whatever, you could have been nice. You
could have said anything, and they would have been like, "Oh my God!"
You'd have that moment. So sometimes you have all that build up, and it's like you don't even look around and take stock of the people who are still around you or the new people around you, and like, oh, I'm around healed adults at this point, people who can take information and make sound decisions, which is like, it's hard because you have to be trusting of that because you don't know until you do it.
And then there's the tricky part of things actually changing too. Sometimes someone won't like it, and then you got to deal with that, and you just got to deal with, okay, well, we won't like it. It don't mean that it's like relationships have to be over or like you guys don't like each other now. It could just literally be like, this is an uncomfortable thing. It's not great. And it's not very fun. And it's just part of the growing pains of where we are.
Oof, right. But you know what I am kind of really getting into in my older age is it's okay if it ends.
Hello?
The relationship?
Talk about it.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, of just like, you know, and I know you have dealt with this as well, but you know,
you say this to them or you're just to yourself?
To myself.
Yeah, no. Oh, okay, because I was like, to them, it's like, these are fighting words.
To myself. Well, knuckle up if you could fight. Shit. But no, but like that thing of like, this doesn't feel good. Like being in relationship with this person, whatever it is, I'm unhappy every time you come around.
My energy
it is my it's like, it is misery. You are what they call an energy vampire. This is not good for me.
Yeah,
this is actually bad for me. This is having like a negative effect on my life. And you know, I keep trying to make this work out and like giving grace and like challenging myself to just be a more understanding person. You be a better person. You be a proper Christian. Like you should just love them regardless. But realizing, baby, I can love you and be a very proper Christian, and also it's okay if this relationship ends.
Yes. And I think that's ultimately about letting go of control. You're not trying to control how this relationship goes, and you're not trying to control how this person shows up.
And also how you receive me. You're trying to control how you receive me.
Yeah. A lot of times where that friction comes from is like, okay, you are unable to accept this person as they are. And then you're judging yourself. You're like, well, am I being a good Christian because I can't accept this person? It's like, because how this person is negatively affects me. So how can I like healthily accept this into my life? But you can say like, okay, you know what? You are perfect as you are.
Yep.
But you just can't be here.
Yep.
Because there are rules and boundaries to how to behave right here.
I can accept you for who you are without accepting you into my life.
That one.
You know, so I'm like really,
and that was a hard one. That's a hard one to figure out because you don't realize that those are two different things.
Yeah.
You're like, I have to change myself to accept this person because that's what being a good person is. And it's like, oh no, two things can be true. Like, I can decide how this works.
Yes, and then everything else falls into place.
Right, and not try to change how that works. Like, I can't do that. Like, you're going to be who you are, and there's nothing I can say or the world is going to say that's going to make you come to that realization any faster if you get there at any point in life.
And it's okay if it's awkward for a little bit and we kind of figuring out how to
do that,
lean back from, you know, but
it's
okay.
It's, you know, I know this is usually industry related, but I do want to give some game to the you know, babies out there dating, because I feel like a huge space where people struggle with boundaries is dating. And like literally it's a space just like everything else where the order of operations has to be you first and making really clear choices about why you're dating and what you want. I'm just thinking about when I was in my era with it, and I think that it's similar. It's like if you don't make really decisive choices about what you really want, you can fall for anything. You can't accept that Hinge date and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there. But what you don't realize is all of it is energy. All of it is energy. It's not worth the meal. It's not worth the meal. I know in your 20s it is, but like it really isn't. Like if you are taking time to lift or drive to a place to meet a stranger and they fucking suck, like then maybe, I mean, sometimes you can't control it, but you can control what you really do want, and you can try to communicate that to people. Like, this is very holistic of me, but like even energetically, like letting people around you in your space and in your body, like if you fucking, like you need to be set boundaries around that and who you're letting inside of you. Like my mentor, my spiritual mentor, Kathleen, love you girl, she said to me when I was single, she was like, baby, you need to detox from whatever energy you're letting around you, build it in. It needs to be at least quarterly. You need to get other people's energy off of you. And so,
and about that coochie.
Yes,
you got to get them demons.
Get
that demon energy.
I just did my beast team this week. I mean, obviously, I'm not dating, but just for me, because I hadn't done it in years, and I was like, "Ooh, it felt so good." But yeah, you got to let that energy out because it's literally toxic. Like someone was in you or around you. You need to let it go. You got to let it go.
And the same thing really goes for career as well. Like you have to be really, in the same way you have to be specific about dating and like your friends, you have to be specific about what you want your career to look like. And that entails saying no, because you have to find alignment, or else you're just going to be pulled in every which direction and you're not going to make that much progress.
Yeah. Anika Noni Rose. So she talked about how she had got offered like a role. I'm gonna misquote what the role is, but I'm gonna say maybe it was like Wicked or something, like a real big part, but to do it, to go be the lead but be touring. And you know, she had a moment where she was like, no, I've done regional theater. I came to New York to be on Broadway. So no, you know, and people were like, wait, you're not gonna do this role? Like what? Like it's a lead role, whatever, it's money, and it's like, and she needed the money at the time. She needed the money, and she was like, no, I came to be on Broadway, not in Ohio.
Yes. And she didn't let that like desperate energy rule her of just like, I just want to work. 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 And we all had that. Like, and like, no judgment. Like it.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it oftentimes on this podcast.
It's always here.
The many of things that we have, we needed to work.
The first of the month always hits. It doesn't shy away from anything.
Yes.
So how are you going to make those?
But you can even be intentional in that, you know, like.
About paying your bills?
Well, no, and taking things to pay a bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be very clear with yourself about that, you know, and have boundaries with yourself about how much you were putting into this. Like, I'm doing this job for this. I don't care if they never use it. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. I have no emotional attachment to this. I'm going to do my best because I always do my best. It is off into the world, and now I'm good.
Something that someone once told me of like how they make decisions career-wise, advice, it has to check 2 of 3 boxes. One is I'm doing it for the money, it's making me money. 2, I'm doing it for the relationships. Working with these people are going to help me get the next job and so on and so forth. Or 3, it fuels me artistically. I must have at least 2 out of 3 for me to say yes.
I like that.
That's nice. You know, this is a life hack that you taught us through, I think, probably from Bashir, but about money and career at the same time, was your order of operations with money when you're paying so many different people as an artist, right? Because you have a team, you got to send people money, you know, you got to send a lawyer money, agent money, manager's money, That shit blew my mind, literally, when you said, oh, you can just decide to get the check sent directly to you, and you choose when you want to pay them. And literally, that is not how the world works. Most people are out here running around ragged, praying that the agency sends them their check and being like, oh my God, please, like, send me my check. But you know what that does? It bleeds the power direction. It literally makes you feel like you're an employee of this person, as opposed to they are your employee. You are paying them their commission. So if you get all the money, you are where the power resides. And then obviously you need to pay them. But like, you know, that's a huge thing. I feel like you can do that.
That's for me, not that man.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay. Come on.
That's how I do it.
Put the order in the correct position, so that then they'll put some more respect on your name. They're going to look at you differently when they realize every single time money comes in, they're going to have to come,
and
get
really,
it from you.
I do it more for me than I do it for them, because it helps me to know who's the head. You know, it just is helpful for me.
That kind of goes into my bootleg fabulous tips and tricks on how to make it. And my question is, like, how do you respectfully set a boundary or respectfully say no? And for me, it's not over explaining, because I feel like when you're saying too much, then now we're going down this slippery slope. Like, 2 things I really don't like in a no is don't lie to me, And don't make an excuse. I am too old to be hearing, and like a no suffices. Keep it brief. Because if I find out that you lied, I'm like, what? Why are you so childish? Like,
you didn't have to do that.
Like, I don't pay your bills. Like, you were able to do whatever you want with your life.
Right.
And then the excuse kind of goes into the lie of like, why are you like, oh no, I gotta da-da-da-da. Just be like, you know what? Respectfully, I don't have the bandwidth for that. I'm not in the space for that right now. Like, that's not for me. There's so many ways.
No, I can't.
Or just no. Or just no.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I am. I just try to give the answer mostly.
Well, okay, what about if you get like pushback, or have you ever gotten pushback of like, what? No. And how do you deal with that? Like someone pushing against your boundary.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely had that where there have been maybe some projects that I wasn't interested in pursuing, and there was some pushback telling me why this would be a good idea. And then I think at that point we have to be a bit more honest, and I think you can always be kind with your words. You can be honest and kind at the same time. Whereas I might have revealed less to you. Okay, now I need to be a bit more specific with you. This doesn't align with me because.
Yeah, I mean, I'll piggyback off of that. I think that the clearer you are with, this is like almost like a tool or exercise underneath all of this, so that it's easier for you to do have these hard conversations, is going back to know yourself. So having, taking time just for yourself, journaling. I'm a fan of the journaling. Like, just getting your voice clearer to yourself as best as you can. Maybe even doing it intentionally. Like, okay, let me just think about money right now. How do I want to move? In what order? How do I want to pay bills? Where can I maybe restructure some things here? Or whether it's career or whether it's friendship, whatever.
My hack would be to be kind.
Yeah.
Always be kind. You can be clear, you can be concise, you can be honest, but always be kind, because think of how it makes you feel when somebody says no to you. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything. Sometimes it's heartbreaking. So just always be considerate of the person on the other side, and just move with kindness. And that way, and it's easier for them, and it's also easier for you, right? Because it's like, I didn't do nothing malicious today. I feel good.
With that said, this was another episode of Unglamorous Truths. You can find us at Unglamorous Truths. You can find me at Amebe Bayene.
I'm Chandra. You can find me at Chani.
I'm Crystal. You can find me at _Chris.
And you can listen to our podcast wherever you find yours. Bye, guys.
Bye.